Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Erin.
You're listening to Banter and Dish podcast.
We'll share relatable stories and recipes
with a hint of humor
and a dash of delight.
I like it. Welcome to Banter and Dish podcast. Whether you've been with us from the beginning or this is your first time listening, thank you so much for joining us. The format of the podcast is that we banter for a bit, then chat about an easy dish. And today's recipe is carrot dogs. This episode is being recorded on August 14th, 2021, and will be available for you to stream on August 26th. If you haven't already voted for us for Best Podcast in the Pittsburgh City Paper's Best of Pittsburgh Readers poll, you have until August 31st. And if you've already voted, thank you so much for voting for us. We really appreciate it. Erin is on assignment this week, so I have a very special guest host today. She's not only been with the podcast since the very beginning as our number one fan, but she's also been with me from the very beginning as my mom. So welcome, Penny. Welcome, Mom. Thank you so much for recording with me today.
Hey, Jill. It's really great to be here. I was wondering when you'd ever get around to asking me, but that's okay. I'm here now, and I'm glad to be here.
Yes, I was hoping to get you in one of the summer months for this recipe that we're going to talk about because it's been a family favorite for at least 5 years or longer.
Oh, I think so, because we've been vegetarian for 14 years. So I bet it's closer to 10. I didn't know about it from the very beginning, but when I learned about it, wow, I love it.
Yep, so do we all. Everybody that's tried it, I think, has loved it. So if any of you listeners are wondering why I am the way I am, maybe today you can get a little peek into my childhood and kind of figure out, the nature part of my personality. So, Mom, let's get these out of the way right away. Do you have any embarrassing childhood stories that you want to share about me? And, remember, it's a 30-minute show. I'm sure you could go on for hours, but.
Well, Jill, you were the perfect child. You and Wendy both. Don't you know that?
Well,
but anyway.
I like to think so.
Yes, you were. I know that you only had one big fight, and I didn't know about it until after. When we lived in Turtle Creek, apparently I was dusting one day or something, and I went over to this lamp, and the shade was all crazy cracked and broken like it. And I thought, how could that have happened? And so I went to you girls and you confessed and said you'd had a really brawl that time or something. I don't know.
Actually, I think we broke the lamp when friends were over. I was laying up on the top of the couch, or one of the friends were, I can't remember. And we were trying to listen to what some of the other people were saying, and we kicked the lamp over. But yeah, Wendy and I did have one big brawl, but that was in Green Oak. Is that what you said? We broke the lamp in Turtle Creek, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was Turtle. Oh, I thought that was where the brawl, I thought it was a fight you guys had.
Dad broke up our physical fight over the remote control for the VCR.
Yeah, I can believe that. I probably wasn't home. I was probably at work, but.
Yeah, you were. Wendy is very passionate about the shows that she records. In fact, we should say she's been a trailblazer in recording things. She was recording on cassette tape with a light switch timer since elementary school, probably. She would record her shows when she was at school. Do you remember that, Mom?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah. Yes.
She has always been very passionate about, making sure she's recording things and stuff. I think I was leaving for dance class and I asked to set the timer for a show I wanted. I think it conflicted with one of Wendy's and it escalated, and Dad found us on the floor wrestling around to see who could get control of the remote control, I believe.
Oh my goodness.
Maybe Wendy can clarify that in the comments, but that's my memory of how it all went down.
Well, I have no memory of that. I'm thankful for, because I thought you girls were perfect. Oh dear. I love the stories about when we had the swimming pool and I'd come home and you would be out in the pool doing your advertisements, I think you were doing.
Yes, TV commercials.
You had all sorts of like dance routine in the water, and yes, it was hilarious. Yeah. Somebody happened by, wasn't there a church member, something who happened by once?
Well, oddly enough, that was right before Wendy's wedding. So we carried these skits on into adulthood because we were, I don't know, doing some sort of TV commercial in the water that was very choreographed. And down walked one of the church members to drop off a wedding present. And Wendy, honest Wendy, who announces everything, whether she's going to the bathroom or what, she had to tell the person what we were doing.
Of course.
When they walked away, I was like, you didn't have to say any of that. You didn't have to say that we were doing a skit in the pool.
Well, they would have wondered what was going on. They would have thought you girls were crazy or something.
No, it just looked like we were laughing and swimming and having fun. They didn't need to know that it was already pre-rehearsed.
Oh. I think you did things like that with your adulthood friend Sharon too, didn't you?
Well, yes, that is true. I can't say it just stopped at Wendy's wedding. Sharon and I did synchronized swimming and all sorts of other fun things in the pool too. So, but she already confessed to that when she was on.
I know.
So she won't be upset.
I love those stories. I think that was so great. I remember something that you did that kind of had me a little miffed at you.
Yeah.
And that was when we used to go shopping and you wanted so much to buy this cowboy hat.
Yes.
Oh, Jill, every time I was in that store, you'd bring me over to the hats and you'd try it on. And
I loved that hat.
It was so cute on you too. And I always hated to say no, but it was expensive for kind of something that, you know.
Right.
But you broke me down.
I know.
And I bought it for you.
Yeah.
And what a disaster.
It was, because I never thought you would actually buy it for me. I love the hat. But, you know, we don't live in the Western states and cowboy hats aren't common around these parts. Even though I loved that hat, I knew that I would never be bold enough to wear it out in public. So when I was begging for it, I never thought you would say yes.
I know. I guess I surprised you when I finally did, but you wore me down. It's just like when you and Wendy were little and we would be grocery shopping and you or Wendy would want, maybe Wendy especially would want something, but she was too afraid to ask. And so you would always be the one who'd pipe up and say, can we have this? Can we have that?
Right. Yeah. Wendy always made me be her voice.
You was a spokesperson for sure.
Yes. I was the spokes sibling for sure.
Yes.
Even when we were maybe selling Girl Scout cookies and things like that, I had to offer Wendy's sales slip to the house when it was her turn. And she's the big sister, but I had to do all this for her. But
I know.
That's why I'm the one with the podcast now. I like to talk more than she does, I think. I don't know.
Well, you can accept a no, too, because you were used to me saying no to you for everything.
Yeah. That's true.
And Wendy was crushed if somebody said no, she didn't want any Girl Scout cookies that day.
I'm used to things not working out the way I want them to, and Wendy likes to have a positive outcome. That is probably more accurate. Maybe she likes to talk as much as I do, I think.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of when we were kids, I mean, in the picture, if anybody sees a picture of us on social media that we post for this episode, my mom is sitting in her sewing room. She loves to sew. She's a fantastic quilter, seamstress, alterations. She makes the curtains behind me she made for my living room. But yeah, there was a point in childhood when maybe I wasn't so happy about the fact that you were so good at sewing. Oh. You probably don't know this. When you worked at Stretch and Sew, you had to make a lot of samples for stretchy fabric.
Yeah.
And so I always had matching t-shirts and underpants, which I was so embarrassed that my underwear matched my t-shirts.
Oh, well, who would see your underwear, Jill?
Nobody, but I was always afraid. What if somebody saw them?
Hey, I think that's so special. Wow.
Well, now I wish I had them. I would have loved it now, but when I was a fragile child who was like, you know, didn't want to be embarrassed. I mean, I was an awkward looking kid. Let's be real. I looked like a little boy.
You looked like a little boy because you wouldn't wear dresses. I had 2 daughters and Wendy always picked dresses. When she was 2 years old, I always let her pick. I always let both of you pick what you wanted to wear.
Yeah.
And Wendy would always pick dresses. She would wear dresses, you know, Sunday through Sunday. Well, not you.
Right.
You would pick jeans and t-shirts. You wouldn't wear a dress. And I had all these dresses, but you wouldn't wear them. And people thought you were a boy because you liked your hair short too.
Yep, I did.
And Wendy always had hers long.
I know. I looked like her little brother. I did, but
you did.
Even I think my dentist called me he once, and that was kind of crushing because he should have known. He should have known what his patient's name was, but
I know. I felt for you then. I mean, I liked you to be your own person, and I preferred jeans over dresses, but
yes. Well, now I prefer dresses, but it was probably because I was so traumatized as a child. Maybe. I don't know.
Traumatized because they thought you were a boy.
People thought I was a boy.
Oh my.
But yeah.
Oh, well, Jill.
Oh, well.
I don't know. Sometimes I worry that I did things wrong, you know?
Well, every parent worries that.
I think parents worry that.
Yeah.
But I did my best.
Well, yes, you did. I mean, I think Wendy and I turned out okay.
Okay. I think you turned out fantastic.
Aw, thanks.
Yeah.
Of course you do.
Yeah. One thing I did worry about is that we'd moved a lot, and I thought you girls didn't get to set down roots.
Yeah.
You know, like some people get to live in the same place and have the same house they grew up in and all that. But
Yeah.
there's advantages. There's disadvantages.
Right. The house that I associated with my childhood was Dad's parents' house, Grandma and Grandpa.
Oh, really?
That's the house that stayed consistent for me throughout my childhood.
Yeah, because my parents died young. Yeah.
Yeah. So Grandma didn't die until I was 30. So that's the house that was kind of my consistent childhood home.
Oh, I never realized that.
Yeah. Yes. And that's probably why when Lloyd wants to get rid of all my antiques that came from her house, I'm like, no, we can't get rid of that. The two that I love are the telephone table and chair.
Yeah.
And the green chair that all my Christmas presents at her house were always on.
Well, of course. Who wouldn't love that chair?
Yes. And I love it anyway, but he says nobody sits on it. We don't need it, but I love it and I am not getting rid of it.
And that chair is unusual looking, I think.
Yes. And it's long. If you're tall, it has a very long seat from the back of the seat to like where the legs,
yes,
where your knees would bend. And as a tall person with long legs, I really appreciate sitting in that chair when I do. Now it is stacked up with pillows usually, and it's hard to sit on because of Lucky. But once, we don't have the couch covered and the pillows from the couch over on that chair all the time, I will sit in it much more to prove that it is a worthy chair of my living room.
From your childhood memories. Oh, that's nice. Well, I'm glad that you do have a root there anyway.
Yes, I do. So yeah, I'm not completely screwed up, just mildly. So
okay. Good to know.
I should talk a little bit about cooking with you.
Oh.
Do you still have, I think it's a Betty Crocker cookbook?
Oh, yes. I got it for a wedding shower. It's 54 years old.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
My high school friend, Amy, not the Amy of Spanx fame from a few episodes ago, but another Amy who I went to high school with, she gave me a very similar cookbook, but it's Better Homes and Gardens.
Uh-huh.
And it's like that I got as a wedding present many years ago too. And
yeah.
I don't usually keep cookbooks here at my house. Sometimes I'll look at them from the library or whatever, but that cookbook I think is really useful.
Hey, I want to ask your listeners something.
Okay.
I always dated my recipes in my cookbooks.
I did too.
And you did. And
I did because you did.
Yeah, that's what you said. And I think I did because my mother did. But I always date the recipe. A lot of times I'll put who was there or what event or whatever. And
right.
And if it was good, yummy or bad, rated it kind of.
Yeah, that's a good question.
Is that something everybody does?
Well, I think a lot of people get their recipes now from the internet and things like that. I don't know that a lot of people have cookbooks. Listeners, do you have a staple cookbook at your house that you would maybe write notes in with a date of when you first made it or anything? Or do you just pull them off the internet? And if so, how do you sort them? I know Sharon has an app that she uses.
Oh.
And I don't know if maybe you can make notations in the app for like the date that you first made it, how it turned out. I'm not sure because I don't use those apps. I'm not that organized.
Yeah, I don't even know there are apps, but but if I print out a recipe, I always write on the recipe too. And then I put it in my notebook because I have a notebook of recipes, a loose sleeve type notebook.
Yeah. I have a recipe box still from like a wedding present way back when. And sometimes if I do have a printed recipe, I'll try to fold it and stick it in there. Mm-hmm. And I used to try to keep recipes on the computer somewhere, but I'm not that organized with them now. That's why for the podcast, we do have a link. At least all the podcast recipes are together in this Google Doc. If anybody has noticed, it's in our link that we have on social media. It says recipes used in the show, and you can get them all right there.
Yes, I use that sometimes. I like that aspect of it.
That's how I quickly sometimes find past recipes when I want to make them again.
Me too. Yeah.
I'm sure there's an easier way to do it. And if we had a fancy website, we could probably sort them all in there, but we don't have that yet. We're just two middle-aged women, Erin and me, who have a podcast and don't spend a whole lot of money on it. So we don't pay for a website anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Jill, I was thinking about memories the other night, and I was wondering, what is one of your earliest or maybe the earliest memory? Can you think of one?
A lot of my early memories, I'm a little confused by, because in my memories, I am very young, but I am alone outside.
In your memories?
Yeah. I don't have any recollection of you or Dad or Wendy being anywhere around. I'm not sure why. As a toddler, I was wandering around outside by myself. Maybe I was within, eyesight. I don't know. But that is one of my earliest memories.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah.
Wow. You don't remember if you were in the yard or?
Yeah, I was in the yard.
Our yard.
Like right around our house. Yeah.
Right in the backyard there.
Maybe the side yard, like by the front where the front door would be.
Okay.
Was the front facing what would be across the street?
Yeah.
I think I was over on that yard.
Okay. Yeah.
I mean, I also remember riding it wasn't a big wheel, but whatever it was, down into the garage.
It was a little wheel, I think they would call it.
Yeah, a little wheel. I mean, I was probably 4 when I remember
You can
that.
remember doing that.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, but I have a lot of memories from that house that I lived in until I was 5.5.
That wasn't a spooky house to you though, was it?
No, that was only when we moved to Turtle Creek that I was terrified all the time.
I know, that was a spooky house. Glad we don't live there again.
Me neither.
I would never felt like it was spooky, but.
Well, Wendy even felt it, and she confirmed that as adults.
Yes, I know.
I told that story to Erin on the podcast. Yeah.
I know. I guess we had lots of experiences by living in a lot of different houses and neighborhoods and stuff. So
yeah,
I don't know if that's good or bad really, but it happened. It made us who we are.
I mean, I remember wandering the neighborhood in Stoneboro by myself as a little kid. So, I mean, it's country living.
Yeah, you were 5 when we moved because we moved to Turtle Creek and you went to kindergarten there.
Yeah, I was 4 probably. I remember trying to find my one friend,
Robin.
And I would say, I went to her house. They're like, oh, she's here. And so then I would run home and say, Mom, I'm going to wherever, the next location. Then I would run. Yeah. And then I would go to the next location. She wasn't there. Oh, I think she's blah, blah, blah. So then I would run back home. Mom, now I'm going to. I never caught up to her because I was always running home to tell you where I was.
I was going to say, see how perfect you were. Yeah.
But yeah, those are my earliest memories. My mom, also known as Penny, is going to talk about a family favorite recipe called carrot dogs. And I believe you got this recipe from Aunt Faye, right? Or the original version of it Aunt Faye made for you? Kind of as a joke, wasn't it?
Yeah, Aunt Faye, my sister, made something called carrot hots.
Oh, okay.
HOTS, that she saw in the recipe in the newspaper where they live in New York State. And it had cinnamon sticks in it, and you had to put those red candies in it and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they were good, but she just did it as a joke. And I thought, they were good in that they kind of tasted, the texture is kind of like a hot dog.
Yes. When they're grilled.
Yeah. And you eat them in a bun and you put ketchup and mustard and stuff on them. And I thought, what a neat alternative for vegetarians to have.
And much healthier than the fake meat hot dogs or whatever. Yeah.
No additives. It's great. So I looked up recipes online lo and behold, I saw carrot dogs, and it was spelled Dawgs.
I know. That is the one thing I hate about it. Do you like that, or you like it?
I think it's cute because it's
See, I don't.
It's not hot dogs, it's carrot dogs. So
I know. It drives me crazy when I see it spelled that way, but
well, sorry, Jill. Anyway, the original recipe I've changed a little bit.
Yeah, it's your recipe now, basically.
I never make just 4 carrots for one thing. Usually I make about 16 carrots or 12 carrots or something because we love them so much when I make a recipe.
Most of them go.
Oh, yeah. So I make several. So really you can make as many carrot dogs as you want. All you do is wash your carrots, peel them, cut them about the size of a hot dog bun is what I do. And I have a perfect Pyrex rectangular glass pan like that I always use because they fit the carrot dogs perfectly.
Yes.
Once you've cut them to size, you parboil them so that you can stick a fork in them a little bit. Now, don't make a mistake and cook them too long because they'll completely fall apart like the first time I did it.
Yeah.
And so we just had cooked carrots.
Does parboiling mean you just boil them but not make them soft? I didn't know that term.
Yeah.
I've heard you say it, but I didn't really understand. That's why I've never made these, but I would like to.
Well, you just cook it till you can pierce it with a fork. It's like partially boiled, I think is parboiled, but I'm not positive that's where it came from.
That makes sense.
That's what I always thought. Then while they're boiling or cooking, and it takes maybe 15, 20 minutes, it's like a low boil simmer type thing. I make a marinade. It's marinade or marinade? Marinade, right?
I think a marinade. You have them boiling in the water for 15 minutes on a low boil, like on a simmer.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, it depends on how many you make and how big. I mean, I use a big pan with a lot of water and it takes a while for them to boil.
So then you get together your marinade.
My marinade, I put right in the container, the Pyrex rectangular container.
Okay.
And what I put in there for about 8 carrots, I don't know, I just make enough that it'll cover my carrots, the number of carrots I have.
Yeah.
You put a half a cup of vinegar. I use apple cider vinegar, but I don't think it matters. I think you could use white vinegar. Mm-hmm. A half a cup of water. 4 tablespoons of soy sauce.
Okay.
And you can use that tamari sauce if you want, Tamari. You can use that, either that or soy sauce. Sometimes I don't have soy sauce and I have tamari, so I use it.
Okay.
It says that you can use a half a teaspoon garlic powder, but I never do that. I just use a clove of garlic. Sometimes I put 2 in because I like garlic. You mince the garlic.
Yeah.
But if you don't have it, use garlic powder. I suppose you could use salt too. Then I just pepper mill some black pepper in it.
Wait, did you say oil at all yet?
It says to use 2 tablespoons of sesame oil.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
But I think you can use regular oil. And I have a friend who is against oil, and she told me she thinks that you don't even have to put the oil in. So now I just put 1 tablespoon of oil in. So I don't know.
Well, the last time you said you made it without oil.
Oh, did I say that at home?
You did, but
I may have.
I mean, they tasted almost as good, but I liked it better with a little oil in it, I think.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Well, she's kind of an oil-free cook, and so she doesn't use oil. So I'm trying to use less oil if I can. And she said she didn't think it mattered what kind of oil, but she wouldn't use any.
Yeah.
But I use sesame oil usually because I have it. And the original recipe said to put a dash of liquid smoke in it, but I've never had that. So I've never put that in.
Yeah, I've never used that either.
So
I didn't even know something like that existed.
So really all it is oil, vinegar, water, soy sauce, and garlic, and your black pepper.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a complicated recipe.
Yeah. You could probably throw other seasonings in too if you wanted.
Oh, I'm sure you can, because you can look up carrot dogs on the internet. And I think there's a lot of different recipes nowadays.
Yeah. Or even put in some of the red hots like Aunt Faye had in her recipe or something, you know,
you could
spice
do that.
it up however you wanted.
Hers has cinnamon stick, fennel seeds, bay leaf.
Interesting.
All kinds of stuff. Orange juice. Hers had in cumin, lime juice.
Wow.
The other recipe had too many ingredients. It was too complicated. This recipe I liked because it was simple.
Yeah, that sounds easy.
It was easy. So you marinate your carrots at least a few hours. I usually do mine a few days because I like to make it ahead, because then it's one thing that's made ready for your picnic or whatever.
Yeah.
So once they've been marinating for a while, you just grill them on your grill. or you can bake them in the oven, which I've never baked them in the oven, or you can fry them in a frying pan.
Have you ever done that?
Yeah, if it's raining and we don't want to grill,
I see.
we just fry them in our fry pan.
Or you could use your George Foreman grill.
Yes,
I know
and
Lauren likes her George. Do you have a George Foreman grill?
I have a little one.
Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
I made them in that too. Yeah. Whatever you want to do, just cook them maybe for 10 minutes. Just make them look like they're grilled like a hot dog.
Yeah.
Then serve them. We like them with sauerkraut or relish and mustard.
Onion.
Ketchup.
Yeah.
Always onions. Yeah.
Yes. Everything.
However you want to serve them. Sometimes we have leftovers and we just slice them up and put them in a fry pan with boiled potatoes, skinned and cut up with onion. We love that. We call it hash kind of. We always like when we used to in the old days eat hot dogs. We would always do that for a real simple dish.
Oh, yeah.
Just slice up hot dogs.
Hot dogs, onion, and potatoes. I remember that. I love that.
I love it too.
Especially because the hot dogs, because they were all cut, each little part of it got all that blackening on it. I love when the skin got like that. The outside
well, you can
edges.
do that with these carrot dogs too.
Oh,
and it's
wow.
really good. I almost like them like that better than with a bun.
Wow, I've never tried it that way.
Yeah, because you never are here for the leftovers, if there are leftovers.
There usually aren't leftovers when I've been there.
I know, because Closer Bill, he's our closer in our family. He always eats them all.
Lloyd always has two. And I remember when Eilish and Jared were home last summer, Jared had 2 or 3, I think.
Oh, I think so too.
He's not vegetarian, but he loved them.
Well, these are perfect for vegetarians for when you go on picnics.
Yes, it is like the perfect hot dog consistency.
It is.
And delicious and much healthier than the vegetarian hot dogs. So I highly recommend that anybody who is curious, give this recipe a try, because I think you will find an alternative picnic food that is also a crowd pleaser.
And healthy. Very healthy for you.
Very healthy. Have there been any favorite recipes, Mom, that you've found from the podcast that you now make in your mealtime routine?
Oh, my sister's chimichangas. Yeah.
Yes.
And it was funny because when you had Darcy on the other week and you had the halushki, I was going to make that. And so I was real excited to hear her recipe.
Yeah.
But I could hardly believe that she doesn't put onions, or her grandmother.
Yeah, I guess the traditional way. I know when Erin has mentioned it with, some of our guests who hadn't heard of it, she always just says noodles, butter, cabbage. And I was always like, what? Onion.
Yeah.
I think onion is a key ingredient, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah. So do I. I was just really surprised. I mean, I don't even think I'd try it that way without the onions.
Yeah, I was going to try that recipe, but we like it so much the way I make it that the other night when I made it, I did not make it without onions.
Jill, I like those shortbread cookies.
Yes, the 3 ingredient shortbread cookies are so good.
They were very good.
And so easy.
Very bad for you.
For a treat. Nothing is bad in moderation.
That's true. Of course, I like my baked pears. I make those all the time.
Yes.
That was my recipe.
Yeah, those are good. What about the cast iron? You use cast iron skillets, don't you?
Yes, but I've never done that pizza.
Yeah.
I'm going to try that though.
But have you made anything else in your cast iron skillet that you baked in the oven?
Oh yeah. Just last week, my chiropractor told me that he does this in the oven. And I thought, why couldn't I use my cast iron fry pan? So I just spiralized zucchini. If you guys don't spiralize zucchini, you're missing out because it's delicious.
I don't.
I know.
You bought me one. I never used it.
I know. Jill, you've got to use it. And it's so healthy. You spiralize zucchini, so easy. Put it right in the pan, the fry pan. Spread the zucchini all around the whole pan. Then put the marinara sauce on it and throw some mozzarella cheese on top. Put it in the oven, maybe 15 minutes at 350, 375, whatever. And, just till it bubbles a little bit.
Yeah.
It is so delicious.
That sounds good.
That's so easy. That's a fry pan recipe for you.
Well, I either gave my zucchini spiralizer or whatever it would be called to you or Wendy when one of yours broke.
You know what? I think you gave it back to me because I couldn't find mine, but then I found mine. Did I not?
So you have 2 now?
Well, I'll have to find it.
If you have 2, I guess I'll take it back because now that my kitchen is a little bit more organized.
I didn't give it back to you then when I found it?
No.
Oh, I'll have to find it again because I didn't know if I'd given it back to you or not.
I don't currently have one in my house. I knew I gave it to you or Wendy. I couldn't remember who it was given to, but
No, I think you gave it to me because I couldn't find it, and I kept
that must have been
yours because you
well, I
never
think I
used
said
it.
just keep it. I've never used it. I think it was still in the box.
Right, it was.
Which I found too. I just gave the one to Wendy. I found 2 mini crock pots when we were cleaning out the cupboards, both still in the box.
Oh,
I'm pretty
Jill.
sure you gave me mini crock pots twice as Christmas presents.
I may have because I didn't see you using it, so I thought you needed it.
So you thought, well, I must not have given her one. I better give her another one. Now that I am more organized in my kitchen, I'm trying to use some of my things that I haven't used regularly.
Okay.
So maybe I would use a zucchini spiralizer at this point. Can you do other things with it?
I'm sure you can, but I've only done zucchini. I think I tried a sweet potato once, but it was really hard to spiralize.
Yeah.
But I was able to do it. It just was harder to turn, the crank thing.
I wonder if you could parboil a potato and spiralize it.
I have spiralized potatoes because they're very good.
Okay.
And then bake them and they're kind of like French fried. But,
Yeah.
oh, yum. Put some cheese on top of that. Oh, yes.
Yes.
You know what I like to put on stuff too is nutritional yeast. It has kind of a cheesy flavor.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Erin and I talked about that a little bit. Maybe it was the chickpea casserole, I think, called for nutritional yeast. We talked about it kind of looks like big dandruff flakes or something.
Yes, it does. Yellowish.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a perfect description. Sounds awful.
It does sound awful, but it does add some nice flavor and
it does.
a lot of nutrition, I assume, if it's named properly to the dish.
I don't really know, but I know it's good for you.
Maybe I should just start naming all the recipes like nutritional shortbread cookies.
Oh no, Jill.
I'll think about that. I'm going to workshop those titles for a little bit and see what I come up with.
Okay, you do that.
Mom, thank you for being a guest host today. It was a lot of fun to have you on the show.
Well, thank you, Jill, for having me. I really had fun too talking to you over the microphone, which I've never done before in my life.
Yes. And also, thank you for being our number one promoter and, really spreading the word about the podcast. We really appreciate that.
Well, I try. I enjoy it. Hey, I'm proud of you, Jill. You're my daughter on the airwaves.
Thank you.
Or whatever you call this media, social media. I don't know.
Streaming. I'm streaming on all the podcast streaming platforms.
Okay.
Erin and I will both be on assignment for the next couple weeks, but I'm hoping that she and I will both be back in the studio early in the fall with some fun banter and easy dishes. Thank you all for listening to Banter and Dish Podcast. If you're enjoying the show, please like, rate, review, and subscribe. And probably most importantly, tell someone about us who you think might also enjoy listening to the podcast too. Oh, and please vote for us if you haven't already for the readers poll for the Pittsburgh City paper.
Yes, do that. And then also remember, you can like and follow the podcast on Facebook and Instagram.
So stay tuned and stay safe. And wherever life may take you this week, try to add a hint of humor.
And a dash of delight.
Which I think I probably was 2 or 3. It's odd that I was alone so much in the house.
Jill, people are going to think I really was a bad mother. You couldn't have been alone in the house.
I know.
And wait a minute, on Instagram, did you say?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know you could do Instagram. Okay.
We say it every week.
Well, I guess I sorry, and I listen every week, but
Aha, the truth is out. Well, Mom, thank you so much for being our guest host. It was fun to have you on the show.
Okay. What? I'm writing this down. What am I supposed to say? And then I say, thank you for having me. It was a pleasure.
That's what I'm saying. It was great to have you on the show. You go, okay. I sort of expected it was fun to be here or something like that.
Well,
but,
I'm ready to write it down, Jill, whatever I'm supposed to be saying.
No, this is a different part.
Okay.
For some thanking you, and then we'll get to that part. So let's try that one more time, maybe with a little more enthusiasm.
Wait, I thought, you were going to tell me what to say. All right. I'll put my pen down.